everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, March 9th, 6:39 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. We're live. Obviously not really the best episode, to be here for, in my opinion. But, we got to definitely discuss today a lot of topics, especially we're going to start with the NYCFC thrashing of Orlando City, 5-0. We'll discuss what went wrong, what happened, and all of that good stuff that you guys want to hear, I'm sure. Thank you to everybody that's dropping your comments as well. What's the latest on Griezmann? We'll discuss that. OCB 2, Chicago Fire 2-1. There's a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Oscar's seat is on fire, according to many people that have been messaging me privately. Unfortunately, I have not been able to respond to a lot of people. I'm so sorry, just for time constraints. But yeah, we'll discuss all of that. And then obviously John, unfortunately, says goodbye to the pod. It's his last episode today, but we'll talk about all of that and get all sappy later on. So I'm going to go ahead. And before we go with John, we're going to go ahead and read some comments. It is not surprised we lost, but the way we lost, there you go. I agree. Hey guys, again, glad to see you. Good health. First and foremost, best of luck to John. A great feat to move such distance. Second, questions have to be asked. Can we turn this around? Well, we'll discuss in just a second. We love you, John, says Kenneth Allen. Thank you. Just hoping for anything to give us some hope. Just so stunned to see us dead last. It honestly hurts. I honestly never thought thing would become this crazy for this season, though. The amount of roster turnover, the loss of players to injuries, says Vapor79. John leaving the club at the right time. LOL. All kidding aside, you'll be missed forever, a Lion. It says John will definitely be missed. His takes were always interesting and get positive vibes. Wish him all the best. Has done you more. Thank you so much. Adriana, for sure, not a bad idea. You'll be missed, John, says Adriana Camarini. There you go. We're going to pour one out for John tonight. There you go. Well, thank you to everybody that's here. John, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Good, man. Yeah, I'm just like getting ready to move country again. So just selling all my stuff. I'm on my phone because I sold my computer and everything. So it's I've done it before. I've moved from the UK to Orlando and back, and so I'm ready to go again. But yeah. I was hoping to see a win. So if we don't beat Montreal on Saturday for my home game, Luis, then I'm leaving town with a 4-0 beginning to 2026. So I'd like to see the boys at least score a goal on Saturday. That would be nice.
No, 100%. The Lions are in a tailspin, and the fans are rightfully starting to ask the tough questions. We're going to have the deep dive that you're probably yearning about this game, breaking down the 5-0 thrashing and the current state of the club. To start, look, I'm a reporter. So what I'm told, I put it out. So don't kill the messenger here. You know what I mean? I'll start from that. So what I was told per sources from the club, and I sent a tweet out on my personal account, not on the LPO account, because it was told to me. So essentially is because there were some tweets and there were some things being said about Oscar being fired, people being fired when the plane lands and things like that. That's what a member of LPO brought to my attention. So obviously, late at night, I shoot my source a message and thinking, probably they're not going to answer because the club usually doesn't pronounce about this type of things. I've been covering the club for a while. They never do. No club does. So what I was told is exactly what I wrote. It says Orlando City is going through a difficult time, but the club calls to remain calm. Definitely, there will be conversations about many things, but whatever people are saying about knowing what will happen next, It's not true. When I told them, are there any final decisions with Oscar Pareja and his coaching staff? No, they're all shut down. So that's why I wrote, rumors of immediate final decisions were shut down because they were shut down. They told me no. So now you can take that and they can blatantly, and again, it has happened in soccer before. This is just journalism. They could change their mind tomorrow. They can change their mind right after they told me that. They can change their mind anytime. Plus Florida's a right to work state, right? So, again, I'm just putting it out there. Now, I do feel, though, for starters, that there's changes need to be made. I think Sasha Kleshkin even said, it didn't even get that bad for me. I never went 3-0. For starters, the frustration was there for the media that was there at the post-press conference, for Oscar, for the players. The players look disillusioned, like they don't want to play here. I'm sorry, but that's the way I felt. How you felt? I know for you it's probably even tougher, man. So, it was just disgraceful all around.
Yeah, gosh, like the press conference with Oscar is pretty depressing. I think you asked some great questions, Luis, of Duncan and Oscar, and you kind of just see, they don't really have a response. Like Duncan talking about how, we got to have patience because the season started badly and we can get better, but no one wants to hear that, right? We don't want to hear, like, fair play, Duncan. You don't have anything else you can really say, but also that's like, the last thing we want to hear at the moment is, oh, it's going to be another one of those seasons where it takes forever to get going. And that's something we've seen under Oscar many years, right? He's been here 7 years now, and we still have these beginnings of the season where it starts horribly. The same thing happened last year. I can think of the, 2023 season as well. I think it was 2024 we started well, and that was about it. But it's consistency, right? We don't have consistency. And this year has started even on the worst possible note. And I think the other question that you asked Oscar in the press conference, he responded with that good old word, Luis. He says, we need time to gel. And so I think we're just all a little tired of all the same things every year and year, right? It's the same excuses. It's the same stuff we hear from Oscar. And there are plenty of coaches that have entered this league and I think arguably almost better coaches than him already, or don't have these problems, or, within 2 or 3 years of one MLS Cup, or proven that they are the guy that can win MLS Cup. So I think after 7 years, we've given Oscar plenty of chances. I think he should have gone at the end of last season. And so to start with 3-0, what do we have to lose now? Apart from the cost of paying him off, Luis, which I think is the only thing that, the Wilfs might hold them back. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, but it's not the time to be cheap, right? I don't even think that's an excuse now, because we're bottom of the table. We've conceded 11 goals. We've scored 3. At this point, I'd like to just shake it up and try something new. I don't think you have anything to lose from doing that, even if we had an interim for a while until we figured out a coach. We're bottom of the table. And I think that Ricardo's brought in a bunch of new players. And I think Oscar might figure it out like by halfway through the season, but I'd rather give somebody else the chance to figure it out, right? I think that's the thing. Right now, I don't think the players are motivated to play for Oscar. I think that's a big thing that we're seeing here, is that they don't know what to do. They look lost. And I know a lot of people will blame the roster and say that the roster isn't there and it's not good enough. And I think there's probably some argument to that. Like, it's going to take some time for this roster to figure itself out. But Oscar is supposed to be a guy who could do something with nothing, right? So you've been giving not that much again. You got to show still that he can produce it. And I just don't think he can get out of players what he used to. So I have real questions over whether he should be the coach. I would like him not to be the coach. And I made that very clear on social media.
Yeah, look, we mentioned it here that this was going to be the year of questioning absolutely everything that happens with Orlando City, especially when he came to the team, and it was going to be heavily judged by many fronts. And again, I personally, I agree with you on the fact that the players look demotivated. I've heard per sources that some players are very like, okay, like I'm here, I'm willing to give 120%, but like just it's not really like, they're looking more forward to playing the World Cup. Like, I don't want to point people out, but they're more looking forward to playing the World Cup and to see what they're going to do with their national team. With that being said, is yes, all due respect with Oscar, great manager. I think like even I'm gonna use the words from Ricardo Moreira. They've took us to a level with the fan base that qualifying for playoffs ain't enough no more. And again, that is good on them, right? From what the club was before, and that was kind of like the pains of what happens if you part ways with him. What would happen? Are we going to lose that? Now, from my understanding is there has to be a sense of responsibility, to kind of quote Oscar, on also what kind of sporting decisions you make. Maybe, and when I asked Oscar that question, I honestly do, based on the trend that this team has had in the previous years, how it took Martin Ojeda coming from Godoy, took him a season and a half. He was in the bench half the time. He was out of shape. Then he became the best player that ever graced green earth, right? The green, beautiful Interco Stadium pitch, right? But it took him a season and a half. Same was with Ivan Angulo. Same was with Rodri Schlegel. Before doing the save against NYCFC. It took him time. So I feel like maybe parting ways with Dagger, maybe parting ways with Schlegel, maybe Galese was, okay, maybe parting ways with him as well. Or maybe not restructuring the deal with Galese and just tell him, hey, I'm not going to count on you, because Galese, according to sources, he wanted to get cheaper. He was willing to get paid $600K or less if needed be. He just wanted to stay here, and he hold a green card, at least for one more season. Maybe now looking at the newcomers, it's going to take him a while. You saw a lot of inexperience in this game. I mean, a lot of, you saw a Taven Gray that completely destroyed Dorsey. I mean, it was just like, and he's one of the most experienced, that has the most minutes right now. Not to knock them down, but Tahir Reed Brown also had some issues, you know what I mean? And that is not to knock the kids out. It's to knock who made those decisions, you know what I mean? And again, for what I was told was that Oscar, alongside his coaching staff, alongside the front office, were the ones who sat down and weeded out who was staying and who was leaving this season. And so what I really did not like was, be completely honest, dude. Like, we're already 0-3. Just say it. Like, there's really, maybe we did rush a little bit. You know what I mean? I feel like fans and even the press will appreciate a little bit more. And not only that, that will kill the press automatically. They're going to shut up because you already said what you needed to be said. So I just felt like very dismissive, and so, but again, I saw people reacted, very negatively on those comments. So
yeah, look, at the end of the day, football is a results business, right? Soccer is a results business, and it's also a what have you done for me recently business, right? Like Oscar Pareja lifted us off the ground floor, and we got a trophy in the Open Cup in 2022. That's one of my happiest memories I'll ever have with Orlando City. But I think we peaked at the end of 2024. I think that Open Cup the MLS Cup conference final we had against Red Bulls, that was, I think, the peak of it, right? And then we had a bit of a run last year where we looked good at one point, but then it all fell apart again. He can't consistently get performances out of any of the squads, right? We've never had a year under Oscar Pareja where I felt like we were good from beginning to end. There's just like, okay, we have 3 or 4 months where we're really good, or 3 or 4 months where we're really bad. It's always a roller coaster season. And I think that he needs to show growth and he needs to show development. And I don't think he's done that. I think we've been going backwards ever since that 2024, final. And I think 2025 was a massive step back. And I don't know what happened in the offseason, whether Ricardo talked to the Wilfs and said, I want to let go of Oscar. And I don't know whether they said to him, we don't want to do that because he signed a new contract that just happened this year. We're going to give him a chance. My assumption is that's what happened, but no one like truly knows. But I think at the end of the day, Ricardo, he's changed the squad, and I believe in a lot of these players. And I think when we were doing the preseason previews, we were talking about how many like these young Brazilians were wanted to go to Europe, and like I don't think we've put together a roster that's really that bad. Like it's definitely not bottom of the East bad. So I think for me, I want to see these players under a different manager, not only the new ones, but the ones we've had here for ages. Like I don't think Oscar is getting the most out of like Martin Ojeda or Marco Pasalic, or I think we have a lot of good attacking players that aren't allowed to play free flowing attacking soccer because Oscar ball is always about, being defensive and sitting back and then waiting and like, defending as a unit. I think there's a lot of things about his tactics I don't enjoy, not only the guys that he chooses in certain positions, but also, the general tactics of it. We don't press. We're not like a pressing team. New York scored 2 of those goals against us just because they pressed us, and they pressed us into like, causing problems. Miami did it to us. New York Red Bulls did it to us. And we don't know how to press as a unit. We don't know how to step up as a unit. We're just constantly in fear back in our like shell, waiting, like trying to block all the moves when really we should be on the front foot. We should be more aggressive. We should be pressing. We should be, an attacking team. I would love to see us being an attacking team, but it just seems like Oscar always wants to go to his defensive 4-3-2-1, and it's never really changed. So forget the results. I think people are just bored. Like we're just bored of watching this version of Orlando City.
And not only that, like, I mean, I understand Duncan has been in a scoring drought in a long time. But one thing Duncan did that Spicer doesn't do is be a ball hog, try to recoup the ball, trying to play defensive, trying to run back and forth. I mean, Duncan will give you 120%. That we needed in the first few minutes of the NYCFC game. I don't know what happened with the lineup in which we had Tyree Spicer right there. He claimed on the post-press conference, I did not put him as a 9. Well, it looked like he was a second striker. So, again, I guess the tactics on that level did not work, in my opinion, 100%. But let's just start from the very beginning, because I think this is something that needs to be said. And the whole Otavio thing, the whole, Nolan Miller, the whole, Tyree Spicer, these are, even Brian Ojeda, it's shown inexperience. I mean, this is the first time Brian Ojeda plays with a fan base so critical, so vocal. I mean, with all due respect to RSL fans, but I mean, they're not known to be the most visceral, right? You know what I mean? They're not known to be the most visceral. Now, Orlando City fans, on the other hand, we are out there. We went to an Eastern Conference final, right? So I just think that there is a lack of experience. So when you face teams that are already used to play with each other, I mean, we look rookie-ish, you know what I mean? So, but the one thing I did not expect at all was what happened with Maxime Crépeau. And I understand that he joined the team because, the Coronel situation happened. I mean, those type of deals will happen in soccer all the time. So when people are saying that, the front office didn't do anything because Coronel didn't want to play for us, Coronel is within his right to say no. I'm so sorry if I hurt your feelings. He's within his right. Coronel is already in Sao Paulo. He doesn't care. We got Maxime Crépeau. He's supposed to step up. 31-year-old veteran goalkeeper, 30 caps for his national team, experience on heavy-duty games. I mean, come on. How the hell you make that mistake, dude? Like, I mean, that is my daughter in her little league soccer, like, and she's trying for a goalkeeper. They tell her, you cannot go beyond this line because otherwise, you get a red card. Like, how he was either nervous, he was either he thought. I mean, the thing is that mistake. And again, I'm not trying to point people out, but it set the tone, dude. It set the tone for the downfall. Kind of like when the Roadrunner, the coyote, run, and then the coyote falls to the cliff. Exactly like that. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, man? Because when I saw it, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, what the hell?
Oh yeah. No, man, it was obvious to me. I was like, yeah, you can't. He definitely handled it. I know. I heard him talking in the press conference after saying they didn't think it was a handball. It's a handball. Like he comes out, he chests it, and then he touches it down here. And I also had a conversation with somebody online who said that they thought Maxime Crépeau was confused because of the smaller pitch, but the size of the box doesn't change. So that's got nothing to do with it. I don't just because the distance between the box and the sideline is less doesn't mean you can still come out of your box holding the ball. So yeah, look, I think Maxime, the one thing I hoped for when we got rid of Pedro was that we had a goalkeeper that didn't make stupid errors, right? I was like, okay, he's going to be a good MLS goalkeeper, but hopefully he doesn't make dumbass errors. And then I remembered some of the things he did at Portland, and that really came back to me when he did this, and it was just frustrating, man, because I was already very negative about our chances going up to New York City. It's a place that Oscar has never figured out how to play on that field. He's never, like, every time we go there, we look terrible, and New York love it. They love playing us in that stadium, man. They kill us every time. So to see that happen in the first 20 minutes, I was like, well, this is done. And like, I don't want to be so negative about it, but it's the truth, man. The way we're playing right now, as soon as he got sent off, I was like, that's it. Like, we're in New York, we're down to 10 men, and Oscar they're not like playing well. The only way you can win with 10 men is if you're in a good place as your squad. Like, if you're in a good place with your team. If you go down to 10 when you're playing badly, that's basically it. Like, the other team has to implode, and New York weren't going to do that. Maxi Morales kills us every time. They love this, little passing back and forth. And yeah, and we just imploded, man, especially the last two goals. I know we haven't got there yet, but they were completely self-inflicted, right? So 3 of these goals I count as self-inflicted. The one for Maxine to get sent off and then they score, so, well, that's not a goal, but it's self-inflicted red card. And then the other 2, the last 2 goals were completely on us. So even when something like this happens, I have no faith that Oscar's going to do the right thing to react, right? Miami, they scored in the beginning of the second half. We didn't react well at all. New York came out at us in the beginning of that first game and scored 2 goals. It took us the whole half to figure out how to react. We went down to 10 men, and, the response was just try and do the same game plan, even though we're down a striker, and it doesn't really make sense. But even before that, he started Tyrese Spicer as our striker. So, I mean, what's up with that? Why are we doing that? I don't get it. We're trying to go for this strikerless system. We haven't even scored any goals. What's that about? I don't think his solutions are working. Honestly, I think everything Oscar's doing at the moment is the wrong thing. And I think our players are spending a lot of energy doing the wrong thing out there. And this was basically after that red card. A whole lot of running around trying to stop New York, but completely failing.
Yeah, and again, I understand. I mean, you have to kind of have an eye for and kind of read the room and read the crowd. You know what I mean? If you know that your backline is having some issues here because Tyree Brown, it's an open door. No disrespect to the kid, but I mean, he was really poor in the marking on Saturday. And you also having David Brecalo. I mean, how come? And I think Alonso brought it up on his Twitter as well. We were talking while he was writing that tweet. I was like, bro, how the hell Nico jumps over? You're 6'2", bro. He's 5'6". You're 6'2", David. Nico is 5'6". Like it just doesn't make any sense. So why can the coach say, "Hey, David, you know what, Tahir, go as a center back. You go left back." But sir, I don't want to do it. Like I'm a center back, man.
Well, you had Iago on the bench who never came on at any point either. Like, why did we go 5 back? Why didn't we put 3 center backs on at that point and try and play with wing backs? And I don't know.
You tell Brecalo, hey, dude, with all due respect, bro, love you, great guy, Slovenian king, all you want to do. Dude, I like you better as a left back, bro. Like, if I was Oscar, bro, I like you better as a left back. I saw Tahir, I put Iago. Bro, it was an open door, man. I mean, they were hitting you from the flanks. And unfortunately, again, is a lack of experience. I'm not trying to kill the kid. The kid's a good player. It's just,
sure, look, you've also got Taifi on the bench. You could have come on at left back, right?
You could have gone Taifi.
Why is he not getting minutes at the moment? That's wild to me.
I don't get it. I mean, and again,
he played OCB, played center backs a whole freaking 90 minutes, right? So
yeah. So Griffin Dorsey as well. He was a bright spot, obviously, despite the bad start of Orlando City in the first few games, but he also struggled. He also struggled against Stephen Gray, as the
that last goal was all on him, bro. He just gave it right back to them. And the one before that, the fourth goal, Otero throws it out to nobody, and then they come straight back. Like, I get we got a lot of young guys out there, and I get there's a lot of inexperience, but Oscar has to find a way to get where the leaders on the field. You have to get the young guys up to scratch. You have to make it work. And I think we didn't prepare in preseason. A lot of these players right here, like, there was only a few players that came in within the last, like Iago, but Miller was here from day one, right? And he looks like one of our best center backs.
He looks
at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of these guys that were like, it's not like he just got thrown a team. There was a preseason. And I just think that it doesn't look like we had a preseason. And we've seen this before, like in 2023, when we had that 5-0 like early loss to Miami. It took us like 5 or 6 games that season to even figure out how to play together. And I just, you don't see other MLS teams doing that, right? Maybe you do, but not good ones. And I think that just to take that long to show any semblance of like, oh, we're an actual unit in our team when you've had a whole preseason isn't right to me. Like, there needs to be, like, you've had a month. What's the show from our preseason? Nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they look like they've never played together, and we're in our 3rd game in. So I'm asking. He's talking about gelling. I'm like, you should have gelled, bro. Like, I'm not here for this continuous gelling nonsense.
Well, also, it's not open to the public, and practices and preseason games are not open to the public, but one to STMs, and it was the worst of them all. But that's what I'm saying. While other teams are doing tournaments, they're playing USL teams, these are put on their YouTube channels, they're doing, Orlando City, unfortunately, guys, we're not secretive. We should not be secretive. We don't deserve to be secretive whatsoever. Why can Orlando City go and face some teams in Brazil, face some teams in Peru? They're already spending all this money to go to Mexico, which is one of the toughest right now, safety-wise, in the world. Why can't you go to like any other country and just try to face a Copa Libertadores contender? Try to make the kids at least, gel with each other. I question that too, John. But again, I don't want to kill the kids. Luis Otavio, his first MLS start, John, was one to forget. Not only, and again, this speaks really good if you're an American. this speaks good about the MLS. I mean, he's played over 2,000 minutes in Internacional in Brazil in the first team. Okay, 18 years old, D mid. Okay, and that tells you that the MLS, the teams that Orlando has faced, Red Bulls, Inter Miami, and now NYCFC, it means that an NYCFC, pressing wise, tactical wise, infrastructure wise, it's at the level or more as a Brasileirão team. So that speaks great on the league, but it's not good for us because he completely flustered. You know, he was not a shield in the back line. So there was a big gap in the middle, big gap on the sides on the back line. A lot of turnovers. New York was going gung-ho. The Lions gave up a 2v1 transition after a set piece on the, when they were doing that. Otavio went to the ground, and then obviously got an easy foul, a foul that he did it out of frustration that maybe in Brazil or in South America, and I can definitely tell this was just a lack of knowing the league, inexperience, because in Brazil, in Peru, in Argentina, maybe that tackle, if they would have revised it, maybe in the end it was going to be for the referee's judgment to decide. But I mean, for the MLS junkies like we are, that's a penalty whenever you see it. It was a clear penalty. And again, after that, he was not the same. He just wasn't. The kid was completely demoralized. He felt like he just didn't want to be there. So again, did we go young in the wrong time? I mean, I guess that's questionable.
My thing is, other coaches would look at all of these young, talented players with a lot of prospect, with a lot of potential, and they would love that, right? And they would be able to get something out. A lot of these guys, and I don't think Oscar's the right guy to do it anymore. And so I think if you look at what happened with Philly, right? They are like a pretty average roster. Then they bring Bradley Carnell in, and suddenly they all buy into his system, and you see like a whole transformation in this team that was like okay, and then the next year they win the Shield. I think you have to say that at this point, we've spent all of this money on the roster. We're invested in all of these players. They're not going to start shipping them all out because they don't think they're good enough. That's just not the way it works. The next thing to do, if it's still not working, is change the coach. And that's ultimately players not performing. It comes down to Oscar. Like you can say, they're too young or they're inexperienced, whatever. It's Oscar's job to prepare them, right? And also, like you said, Luis, from everything we've heard from him and Ricardo, they're unified, and he's been in all of these conversations. He's been there, so it's not like Oscar was given all these players and they went. He's been in the conversation. He knows what he's getting, and like I said before, I still believe in a lot of these guys. I still think Luis Otavio will turn into a very good MLS player. I think Thiago will be a very good MLS player. I think Iago will be. I think all of these dudes. Honestly, and I don't think Ricardo is really bad at his job. I just think that Oscar is not making it work. He is not getting a tune out of this team. And I think it's got a lot to do with the leaders of the team. I'm not sure they all believe in him, honestly. I think you see now that his boys are gone, right? Because that's what a lot of it. It's the guys that were really his guys, like Pedro and Schlegel, and he's got no Wilder, right, etc. Now it's like, okay, so he's relying on his Ojedas and his Brekelos. I don't think they have such a good relationship with Oscar. And then the rest of the guys, they don't even know him. So yeah, I think there's, he was losing his grip, I think, on the end of last season. And I think now I honestly think a lot of them aren't excited, or they don't listen, or they're just not wanting to engage. And this is something I've seen with many teams over the years. Like it just happens, and you've seen it, Luis, right? At some point, the players, they're not interested. They're not paying attention. They're not motivated. The tactics that you're telling them fall on deaf ears. They're just not doing what you want them to do on the field. So your effectiveness as a coach, is not there anymore. And I keep thinking about what Oscar said at that Pareja's perspective. I think it was like 23 or 24, I can't remember, but he said, when I am no longer to be helpful to Orlando City, or when I can no longer be help here as a coach, I will go myself. And I think we are firmly in this place where I don't think he's being helpful anymore. And he maybe can if he's here for another 6 months. Then we figure it out. Maybe in enough games time we look like the Orlando City we should look like. But do we want to go through that? I mean, I think it's time, Luis, and I think also for the fans, because we've just seen 2 sold out games that are right. So Griezmann, there's so many factors here, right? Like we got to start creating some positivity. No one wants to join a club that's bottom of the table and everybody hates playing there. Like we need some positivity, and maybe Oscar could turn it around, but I think it's time to let someone else bring that positivity and have a new face in the locker room and a new guy for the fans to be like, oh, how exciting, we have a new coach.
Yeah, and again, we're gonna start looking like the Magic or like the Solar Bears, when we're supposed to be one of the most successful franchises. And again, I do want to say, when it comes to some of the play, Javier Otero also wasn't, they threw him to the fire. I mean, I feel bad for the kid, but I mean, it didn't pan out. I don't think, he was brought out of the fray, things didn't go better for him, be honest with you. Also, again, when you needed to maybe park the bus because you're with 10 men, they were really bad at it. If they tried, they were really bad at parking the bus in this game.
That's the thing, man. Like his whole thing is we're a defensive team. We're not even good at that anymore. So what are we doing? Like we're just out there trying to defend and we can't do it.
Right. And again, this was just horrid all along. Let's read some comments real quick here, and then we'll keep discussing what happened there. It says Otero sadly still no chance. Davi 95, thank you, Davi, appreciate you. Paper 79, yeah, there's no way you get Griezmann here if we're at the bottom 4 teams come July. If you throw the right bag, yes, but there's rumors now that PSG may be after him too. So Kenneth Allen, hey, so I was able to confirm that OCSC doesn't use the actual physical therapist for injuries for the first team. They only use athletic trainers. However, OCB coaching staff and the Pride both have. Okay, so that right there, if this is true, this is wrong. 110%.
Is it because like they've got some doctors or something? Is that why they don't need PTs, because they have club doctors or team doctors? But why does OCB and Pride have it if
maybe
Orlando City doesn't? That makes no sense.
That makes any sense, but
I don't know about that.
I mean, if this is true though, I mean that's terrible. And again, it kind of makes you question, like all these injuries that are happening now. Honestly, I mean, be completely honest. Is Jensen going to make this team better? I mean, Jensen, we said last year he was on his, I think all agree here. Let's probably not renew Robin, right?
Like Wilder is a big miss. That is, and I have like Oscar has my sympathy for that, because I think he was relying on Wilder to be the leader in the team and run the team from the midfield. So that I can fully, but again, how many injuries do we have, right? So failure to prepare for the season, maybe 1 or 2 you can put down, but there's so many guys that were not ready or can't play 90 minutes or coming off in 3 games injured.
CFG, possibly the greatest structure conglomerate in world football. I'll be honest with you, I hate Manchester City. I'm a Chelsea fan all the way, baby. LA Dodgers all the way, baby. But like, I can't say that. I understand that. I think NYCFC is a great team, and I think they deserve the win, and I think they deserve to put 5 on us, 110%. And not only that, they're gonna have a beautiful stadium, so good for them. They should be proud of
that. That's the last time we got to play baseball, so thank you for that at least.
If he loses to Montreal, he should resign. 110% agree. I mean, I think the fans. Again, I mentioned it yesterday. The pitchforks are people are already buying their pitchforks at Ace Home Goods.
It's not just the fans though, Luis. Like soccer wise, MLS moves. Like I'm
Everybody.
sure throughout this week, all the review and preview shows, all the major outlets are going to be talking about how Oscar's on the hot seat. Like we were talking about it preseason. All the Goals TV guys were talking about it preseason. You know, you lose three, that just doubles down. Now everybody's like, honestly, if you odds on like first manager to be fired in MLS this season,
Probably
he will
too.
be top of the list right there with freaking Bill Neville.
Hot take. Put Harvey where Spicer is. I'm sorry, but the kid is banging in goals for OCB. Spicer is hoofing it into the stand so far. Get Gusky back out there next game. And I agree with you, man. And actually, that's Cameron Keeb. So thank you, Cameron. Sorry I didn't get back to you. I've been a little busy, but I understand your frustration. I think it's his first time being a season pass holder, and he has to go through all this ordeal. I went through that in 2017, 2016. So I totally feel you, my friend. But yeah, Harvey is balling. I don't know. Hopefully, John comes back in just a second. Is it exactly? We have no fire and no leader. Sorry, but Ojeda's an empty armband when we need one the most. Says here. Well, I agree with you. I mean, he's a silent leader, but I mean, again, you're speaking Spanish with Messi, so I mean, it's a little different. You know, we have people from Trinidad, from different parts of the world, so you kind of have to speak a little bit more English, in my opinion.
I think we saw some of that Ojeda leadership at the end of the Miami game, right? I think
Yeah.
he's not always like this on the field, but I think in the locker room they got a lot of respect for Ojeda, and he's a leader.
Yeah, bro. But this is the moments, and I was talking to a
You
colleague
need it
about
on the field, though. I agree with that. You don't always see it on the field.
these are the moments, bro. And again, I don't want to bring old memories from the past, and I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you just because you're South American, you're talking about no, bro." These are the times in which you need that Antonio Carlos, like purple, purple. You need that Rodri Schlegel, Papi. I can do it. I can do it, Papi. You need that. There wasn't any of that. With all due respect to the
Yeah.
players, there wasn't any of that. Maybe
I do think we're missing that we don't have, right, as the one thing at the moment. But you can find it from guys like there are leaders in this team that could step up, and that's where Oscar needs to get them to do that. The more veteran guys that have been here longer, they need to be the one to lead the way.
Vapor, Breckle is starting to play like a baby. Just his face says it all. I heard from sources he just doesn't want to play left back. And to me, I'm like, I don't. If I'm the coach, bro, it's like you telling Jose Mourinho, "Hey, I don't want to play center back, bro. Why are you putting me as a center back?" I'll be like, you bro, you gotta know your role and shut your mouth. Like we're 0-2. So if I say left back, you're gonna jump and you're gonna play left back. I don't care. Like you're part of the team. Like we gotta have that type of edge. The player's gonna tell us what to do. I mean, if I'm in charge, the player's gonna tell me what to do. When Oscar started panicking, subbing, I turned off the TV. I couldn't watch any longer. Yeah, I feel bad for you, bro. Matt Freese was just chilling the whole game. Great keeper, by the way.
He didn't make a save until the 50th minute.
Yeah, he's gonna be the number one for the United States. I mean, NYCFC, and I talked to Davi about it. They need to really feel proud of themselves. They're getting a brand new stadium. The team looks phenomenal. They have a mix of youth and good players, you know, so kind of like what Orlando City was looking in 2024, you know what I mean? And then, you know, we kind of lost it. Crépeau made a dumb mistake, but I'm not throwing him out with the bathwater. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna kill him. You know what I mean?
I mean, how many dumb mistakes like that did we see Pedro make, and then the next week he'd make like 20 saves, right? So I don't want it to happen all the time, but sometimes keepers will make dumb errors like that. Yeah.
John C407 says Himes looked good for OCB last night. They elevate Himes or Rojas on a short-term deal. Well, I think Himes looked good, so I'm good with Himes. Otero sadly still no chance. It says the goal came so quick after the red, and it felt like everyone in Orlando. Yeah. I mean, bro, you go down 10 men, and you have to play in that pitch. There's no effing way. But again, I knew we were gonna get an L after that red, but it's just the way you lose. You know, I think everybody could agree with that. It's just the way you lose. But But anyways, what's next for Orlando City? Do or die against Montreal. Congrats on NYCFC. They're doing tremendous. Anything else you want to add again about this horrible and horrid game, John?
Yeah, I don't know why we're trying to start Spicer as a striker or like not a striker. It was like a sort of, I heard on the commentary them talking about how we're playing a strikerless system. Like, what? Like, what are we, Barcelona? Like, no, we're not.
Yeah, I
don't understand that. You've got Thiago, you've got Duncan. One of them should be in the striker position, not Tyrese Spicer. So yes, there are limited players. Yes, Oscar doesn't, want to play a lot of these kids, etc. But I think some of these decisions I just don't get. Like, why is Taifi on the bench, not coming on at any point? You got Justin Ellis and Harvey playing well for OCB that you could have put one of them on at some point, right? You could have had them on the bench. They were on the bench to come on, didn't get a chance. So I'm just questioning, even with the young players, that he's not picking the right ones and giving the right chances to the right guys and forcing these players into the wrong positions. We've seen it all the time with Oscar. He's always like, oh, let me figure out how to turn this guy into that guy. It's like, no, just use the next freaking striker who's a natural striker you've got in the team. Exactly. I mean, he scored a great goal for OCB that we'll talk about in a minute, but the Spicer striker thing, I don't get it. I think he's been struggling at left wing, so why are you then going to give him the opportunity at striker? And I still believe in a lot of our players, but some of them are not playing well at the moment. So stop giving the guys that don't play well starts and just give someone else a start, because maybe at this point, try whatever. Like, freaking start Justin Ellis against Montreal. Maybe he scores 2 goals in the first half, right? What do you got to lose? If Duncan's not doing anything, and I don't know why I would start Thiago too, but I just don't. I don't. If he starts Tyrese Spicer again as a striker, like what? It's just, it didn't work once, it didn't work twice, and you're going to do it again. That for me is where I get really annoyed.
Like, you gotta kind of know when to do your Papi ball, like you call it, or hunker down, and then when you play vertically. And I feel like that's been a struggle for Oscar in this team this year. Like, I understand why he tried to put Spicer there, because he's a fast player, that because he's going to have Angulo on the left and Spicer there as a second striker, they can both go and defend. But what happened against NYCFC was you go down one man. So the one who got sacrificed was Spicer. Now, if you would have started with Duncan, maybe it would have been, Duncan will give you more of that defensive presence, because his build and his back and forthness when it comes to help the defense. So I think against NYCFC, that's a game that we should have definitely gone for Papi ball, in my opinion. And I think it backfired tremendously after the red. And again, I mean, who else were you going to be taking out? Maybe take Angulo out, but Angulo's been having great games overall. I mean,
he took him out. I'm just more astounded by the decision to keep starting him as the 9. I don't get what he's trying to do with, like, what was forget the red card, right? What was our game plan going into New York? Like, because I didn't see it in the first 20 minutes. So after that, yes, he has to react. The whole game has changed. But that first 20 minutes, it wasn't like it looked like we had a game plan. It just looked like we had no striker. I don't get what he's trying to do with that.
Yeah, and then I'm telling you, Pedro, Leão, and Ellis are looking like real strikers. Like, if you want to do short-term deals, you got Ellis and Leão right there. If Duncan's not working out,
well, Ellis is signed first team, right? Isn't he on one of the supplemental? So he can come up straight away.
Yeah.
I think he should be able to play. I mean, David, if you're in the chat, you can tell me if that's true or not. But I think that's the case.
So Justin Ellis, Leão, Sarajian, even Taifi, he got a yellow card against Chicago Fire too. They had a tremendous game. So I mean, that's telling you those are 4 players that, they probably, we need to see it in this season again. Yeah, he signed. Yeah, he signed. Yeah, nothing.
And like, the thing is, why I keep talking about Taifi and The same thing with Justin Ellis. Is like we have to give these guys a chance in the first team. And while we're this bad, like whenever is there a good time to do it? You know what I mean? Like I think this is the right time to do it. So, if you don't have the players working, give the chances to the young guys. Like, it's more difficult in defense, and I think you're going to see in defense, right? Tahiri Brown, I think if we keep playing him, we'll figure it out and we'll become, a good left back and it'll work. Like, it's not always going to be one game and they're really good, but look at Gusky against Miami, right? So there's examples of sometimes you just throw a guy in there and he'll figure it out and it'll work. And I think also these players can get frustrated, like Justin Ellis, Taipi. These guys are expecting first team minutes this year. They're expecting like a decent amount of first team minutes, I think, not just to play OCB all year. So we have to make sure that we develop our guys, or else we're going to end up like we did with Alex Freeman, where they didn't play him enough. And then he eventually gets in the team and he just immediately wants to leave because he feels like he should have been given a chance a lot sooner, right? And he feels like he wants to move on. So I am concerned that we are not developing our players and we're leaving some of the better like prospects to play OCB when they should be helping us in the first team.
Yeah, 100%. Let's read some comments real quick, and then we're going to go through the next topic, which is talking about Antoine Griezmann. So thank you so much for your support. It says, yeah, he signed, says Kenneth Allen. Basically, keep. I think Spicer's nervous on the finish. Duncan, I feel he's out of shape. Play Ellis, play Thiago, play Harvey. We're wasting our young talent that can press for at least 65 or 70 minutes. Kenneth Allen says, we have nothing to lose at this point. I always spoke fun of Montreal with all due respect. I even had my trash can. That was a CF Montreal trash can.
Club Le Trash Montreal. I love that trash can.
But now I have no banter, guys. I really have.
If I see Dagger Dan score a goal against us in our own stadium, I'm walking out. Like I'm done. That's it. I'm just like
Petrasso
nah.
and Dagger Dan are gonna be.
If Daggy like cooks our defense and scores like a brace or something, I don't know how I gotta deal with that.
Those are decisions.
I'll be happy for him, but
you want to say, great guy. People have sometimes mischaracterized me because they think I love Oscar. I have a tattoo of him right here in my arm. Not really. But clearly, he made the decision. All Dagger wanted was a chance to play starting role if Freeman was leaving. All he wanted is, hey, can you give me a chance? And they said, no one's guaranteed a spot right now. Okay, there's no guarantees. Okay. So if he scores, it's gonna be painful. I guarantee you, knowing Dagger, he's not gonna celebrate. I don't think he will celebrate. I have to run, but one last time, thank you for all the hard work and fun takes, John. You'll truly be missed. Bamo's brother, says Vapor. Thank you, Mr. Vapor. Appreciate you. Justin Ellis, who also scored yesterday. Yeah. It looked like the third rail had good flair activity pregame, says I think Dorsey could be that guy, says to be honest. He shows a lot of heart. Just needs to fit into the squad. Yeah, we still need a striker, but we might have enough to survive. Yeah, you guys have your team is rolling, bro. Your team, good for you. John, all the best. Make England great again, says Ruben. Look at that. Come on, man. There you go. But anyways, Griezmann, with the status of Orlando City looking so trash right now, unfortunately, Antoine Griezmann still currently with Atletico Madrid. He still remains a key player, and he's a club's all-time leading scorer. His contract runs out in 2027. Obviously, there were rumors of linking him to Orlando City. It's been a big topic. Orlando City aggressively pursued per Tom Bogart during the primary MLS transfer window, which is going to close March 26th. But they offered a high salary, according to Marca and according to L'Equipe. It was up between 11 to 16 million gross per year, rivaling top earners like Lionel Messi. To push an immediate move. And Griezmann says, hey, thank you. but I would like to see if you guys can hit me up in the summer because I really want to play with Atletico. I want to give the fans a well-deserved farewell, and I don't want to do the same thing I did with Barcelona. And so far, he's decided not to come to Orlando City right now. He's staying in Atletico for the rest of the season. A summer move to Orlando isn't ruled out, but obviously, I don't know if it's going to be the same bag. Orlando can still hit up like a pre kind of contract and but that's a little bit binding. And if there's going to be other players that are already targeting for the summer, especially after the World Cup, tying yourself up with a name like Griezmann, you never know. I personally think that we should still try to pursue him. But I mean, again, depending how far Orlando's going to tank, because if we're going to tank and we're not even going to go to playoffs, I mean, how does that, unless he's a really big bag, I'm talking about 20 million, how does that motivate you? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts on Griezmann, John?
Well, I think it helps if your team is good when he comes, but I don't think it's like essential, right? I mean, Messi joined Inter Miami when they were like bottom of the table and they were dog shit, right? So I don't think it's completely contingent, but it definitely helps. I think selling him on the project, which obviously we've done all this, right? I don't think there's really much more Ricardo and the team could do. I think at this point to convince him, right? I think we've laid all our chips out on the table. We tried to get him here for May. If he doesn't want to do it for May, then they're going to go back in the summer, right? And we're going to say, sorry, March. We're going to go back in the summer and say, are you going to come now? Like, we're still going to offer you money. We're still going to try and bring you here. I don't want to give up. I think that there's not a lot of players that are in, this level that he has where he's, a star, but I still think can do it all and still really, really good and, a top 5 league. I think he is definitely the right player for us and ticks all the boxes. Maybe we can find someone in the summer who's equivalent, if not even better, after the World Cup. We'll definitely have more options then. There was also talk, I know, before Ricardo and a lot of Tom Boga and other people reporting on the fact that we were going to go to other guys, right? If we couldn't get Griezmann in March. So is that happening, right? And again, are they going to be as good as him? My guess is no, because like the same thing that you couldn't convince Griezmann to come now, you're probably going to have a similar issue with another player where they don't want to leave in the middle of their season. It's not a transfer window for really anybody but MLS at the moment until March 26th. So I don't see it happening now. I think they're going to go back for Griezmann in the summer, hoping that he's then like ready to come and he's happy and he's done with Atletico. And if not, we're going to have 2 or 3 other guys that are lined up from the World Cup that are going to be the next best option. I think the Wilfs have to pony up big cash to bring somebody here that's going to make a splash, that's going to, that's going to put butts in the seats, man. I think we have to do that, right? And I think Ojeda or Pasalic is not enough. I think we need someone of the Griezmann level. They need to spend 10, 15 million on somebody who's really like a guaranteed thing. Or if we get him on a free, the salary needs to be way up there, right? He needs to be a really impressive player that commands a big salary that's going to make a big difference. So yeah, I think that it's time to spend big from the Wills. I think they've been cautious about it, but just like it was with Orlando Pride, it needs that big investment, right? There was some investment for Orlando Pride, then they went out and spent big and brought in Barbara Banda, and then the next year, we won it all. We need to see that for Orlando City with the Wolves. So if it's not Griezmann, it better be somebody else in the summer that's going to bring the crowd in and put some butts in seats and sell some jerseys. Because the Miami game, you see them, I've heard reports and I've had it verified by several people that they were on the sidelines. They're taking pictures of Messi, right? They wanted pictures of a star. So you got to sign a star. Like if you want to take pictures with a mega star, sign one for your own club, right? Make it happen for our fans, make it happen for our city. and also pay off Oscar, right? I think this is the thing. This is the time to not be cheap. This is a World Cup year. The team is going in the wrong direction. Now is the time to fork out a big amount of cash, to bring in a star player, to bring in a new manager that's going to turn this team around. I would, if we signed Wilfred Nancy and Antoine Griezmann in the summer, the second half of Orlando City season could look completely different. But we need to make those moves, and we need to make sure that it's somebody big. The thing about Griezmann is it was all relying on the Atletico, Barca game, really. And Barca got 3 goals, but they couldn't get the 4th. And then after that happened, it was very obvious that he was just not going to come now. And all the media was saying, okay, now he wants to stay because, Simeone has convinced him or whatever. He doesn't want to leave the fans, even though he'd left them before.
He's entitled to that.
100%. Not disagreeing with that. But I think, I don't think we were ever in the driving seat here, right? I think we're asking and he's telling, right? So we were asking, come now. He was like, well, I'll get back to you. And then he's like, actually, it doesn't work for me, but let's talk again in the summer. I'm still interested. I just hope he's not messing us around, right? Because he did it with LAFC. There's been other clubs that he's kind of pulled the rug out from under. So I just want to get this over the line. If it doesn't happen until the summer, that's fine. But I am very excited about the idea of Antoine Griezmann wearing purple. So if not him, it needs to be somebody equally as exciting signed this season as our third DP.
Romelu Lukaku. There you go. Breaking news. No, but yeah, I agree with you there. He's entitled to say no or to say, hey, wait for me in the summer. Again, the bag may be different. There may be any different options. Alonso says Papi needs to play the best U22 trio ever signed for OC. And says, I said no, that Griezmann was not coming. Does it Griezmann? No. There you go. Where are those who said we had a solid team? There you go. Why is nobody talking Papi out? Well, we're talking about that situation earlier. So if you want to go back,
I posted that literally this weekend. I said there's exact words.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I don't care, but I'm just saying, bro. It happens, right? If he's sacked, he's sacked. What are people?
Look, unless this is football, man. Oscar is a big guy. Right. I saw somebody post what happened. You guys aren't thinking about what happens to his family. I sympathize, but Oscar knows what happens, right? This is he's not a child, right? We don't need to protect the man. If he's done a bad job, he gets let go. That's the nature of the beast. That's just what the sport is. So I don't think we should be sentimental about any of this.
Yeah, and also the same way goes for the other side. If they decide to keep him, obviously, bad decision for a lot of people, right? I think everybody's within the right to speak out and say how they do not agree with the decision. But again, unless Orlando City, when they go to the IRS, the name of the club is under Ruben Perez 4726. It's really the owner's decision at that point. If they decide to keep him, it will be on them. At that point, if Orlando takes.
And that's the part I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows.
I don't think so.
Honestly. Is Ricardo the one deciding this? Did he go to the Wilfs and ask them to let go of Oscar, and they said no? We don't know. Nobody really knows what happened this offseason. I do feel like in that press conference preseason, though, where Ricardo was talking about how him and Oscar are working together, there was a lot of tension there and a lot of looks between them. And I wasn't really convinced. I'm not really convinced that Ricardo and Oscar are seeing eye to eye. I see a lot of things that make me feel like there's tension between them.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely read between the lines. I don't really know, to be honest with you. All I can tell you is that
we're speculating.
Yeah, it's speculation, but all I'm saying is, to me, and for what I've been told, is that they both have made those decisions. So Oscar has been part of all those decisions, parting ways for the old guard, going young, like getting those under 20, over $9 million in under 22 signings that are actually, Iago was one of the best players in Copa Libertadores under 20s. You know what I mean? Like, Thiago came from Bahia, making a lot of goals. So these are good under 22s. I think personally, it's more of like the inexperience is showing, and it's gonna take him a while. And I guess the fan base is not willing to wait either. And again, that's part of the sport. And if Oscar is not able to make apple sauce from apples,
Yeah.
then the front office needs to do something about it, right?
If he'd been here 2 years, I'd be like, okay, it's a bad start, but we got some time. But he's been here 7 years, so like I'm
100%.
not. I don't want to become a club that's like constant. I don't want to be Chelsea. I don't want to fire a manager every 6 months, right? But there is longevity, and 7 years. Like several people have said this, that if you can't win MLS Cup after 7 years, like I think there's a window in which a coach in MLS can win MLS Cup, honestly. And I don't know, like 8, 9, 10 years, is that going to make a difference? Like it's a what if, right? Whereas I think if you roll the dice, there's more of a chance that a different coach, a better coach, could win you MLS Cup. I think there's a lot of questions about whether Oscar could ever do that.
Jeffrey O, thank you, Jeffrey O. Since we started LPO, he always comments. He's a really fan of the show. We appreciate you. But it's the first time that Jeffrey O puts a comment that I actually agree. Thank you, sir. Felipe Luis, former Atletico Madrid player, playing high level, going to Champions League, knows what's up. He did so great in Flamengo. He's right now without a job.
Yep.
You got
Jim Curtin.
You have young Brazilian, right? You have young Brazilian talent that he probably knows and has played against. Hey, I like this better than Tite or whatever his name is, right? I like because he's younger.
Yeah.
He's a player that has done really great in Europe as a player. Knows how to defend. He was one of the top defenders in the world. So,
also, what if like Martin Perlman gets this like interim job and then kills it, right? And then is the actual coach. That could happen. I'm not saying that it's likely, but I'm sure they'll still look for somebody. But that's what happened with like Pride, and Seb was the interim guy, and he did such a good job, he became the coach, right? So I'm just saying that this idea of like we need to make sure we go up for a better coach at this point, just roll the dice, right? Because it can't get any worse. And even if we have a temporary coach till the summer, that's fine. Like honestly, like we got there. If it's an assistant coach who's in the team, like Martin or Torres or whoever, then they know the players. They're still going to set things up for the new guy who's coming in. I just think that there's a lot of good coaches out there, and I think if you look at other coaches in MLS that have no experience, that have entered the league, that are already better than Oscar, that can get their teams to perform better. Like look at San Diego, like Mikey Varas, is killing it, right? So I think there's a lot of good, like look at Michael Bradley, right? That's was there with Red Bulls too, but he's probably going to have a great year with Red Bulls in his first year as an MLS coach. So I think we knew what we had with Oscar, and now it's time to go see if somebody else can do a better job. But I don't want to wait until he figures it out, because I think that's just like we've seen other years. It's going to take a long time to get this team going under Oscar.
Bro, Paulo Guerrero is like 40. Is going to turn 43, man. Come on, man. Do you think it was Oscar's fault to lose 2-4 versus Miami? He doesn't think it's Oscar's fault that we lost 4-2 against Miami.
I think it's our fault that we went into our defensive shell and we don't press and we don't get out, and we bunkered. We tried to bunker for 60 minutes against Miami. You can't do that. So I blame Oscar for that. Yeah.
Arsene Wenger will show the voice what hell is in what hell is like in training. Arsene Wenger, come on. How old is Arsene Wenger? 90? Come on. How many Champions Leagues does he has? Who? Felipe Luis? Man, I think he didn't win the big one with Atletico. I think he has an Europa League, I believe. Elijah Tensio, thoughts
No,
on
I think he
Pareja?
was in the Atletico team when they won
He
it.
won.
Wasn't he?
I think he's
Maybe he
won.
wasn't. He was a left back, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was a
Yeah,
great.
but
He
he
was
had
a great
long hair at
defender.
that time. Does he still have long hair?
Yeah, still has long hair. Yeah, he still has long hair. I'm looking right here. So Felipe Luis, no, he has not won Champions League as a player. He was a runner-up twice with Atletico Madrid. But he won the 2025 Copa Libertadores with Flamengo, and he won 2 Europa Leagues, one La Liga, and one Premier League with Chelsea. So there you go. This is if they don't get rid of the loose ends and Papi gets away with a wooden spoon, that stadium will have cobwebs where butts used to sit. Without a community, you have no club. It says, did you happen to see the Red Bulls game? Did you happen to see Cincinnati's game? Um, I did not. But did
I
you,
saw the
John?
highlights of both games. Yeah,
Yeah. It says,
like Montreal beat Red Bull, so
yeah.
good luck for us. That doesn't bode well for us.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in a little bit on the next episode. On the next episode for sure. We're not going to talk about that today, but let's talk about. People want us to. I think we've talked enough. Oscar Seats is on fire, right? There's
This
really.
this big spoon above my head, Luis. This is an omen right here. This is what we're in store for. I think if we don't make some changes.
Yeah, it's just. I agree. I agree with a lot of the sentiment, but I have no feelings. I really like. I understand the frustration. I understand. I guess it's just me. I I I understand the frustration, all of that. But again, that doesn't mean that. I just on a personal level, it's just sometimes I feel like everybody wants to be right. Over why is the team not coming out of a slump? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think
Yeah,
more people should look into analyzing why the team is in such shitty. Why we look so shit. Pardon
yeah,
my French. Than bantering on why I'm right and everybody else was wrong. And it seems sometimes when I read a bunch of stuff, it's just like, come on, man, like really. And that it's normal because it's the inexperience of watching maybe the sport. Maybe again,
yeah. And
maybe they
hindsight's 2020, right? Everybody can
yeah.
look back and say I
So
was right about this or wrong about that.
yeah, so it is just the banter. Now that do I feel like he's in the hot seat? 110%. If you staple papers for a living and you fail on stapling papers, or your quota of how many papers you stapled is low, it's a lower ratio than previous years. Of course, management has all the right to question if you deserve a job or not, especially on the right to work state. So now, is the club not being vocal about it? Obviously, every club is different, and I think in the MLS, look how the MLS handles this type of stuff, and look how Scotland handles that. Wilfried Nancy, top MLS coach, champion,
Yeah,
champion. Go
100%.
no, 33 days he
Yep.
lasted in Celtic. Now,
Yeah.
Celtic, historic club, don't get me wrong. But if they play against Derby's Manchester City, they're like a high school team compared to them. So, with all due respect, right? So,
Hmm.
33 days,
And
so
that's why people, have an opinion of MLS being not serious and like it's not. And you're totally right, because if this was pro rel, there would be way more on the line and you'd fire him because you have to turn your season around now. And that's the part I hate about MLS is you can be bad for the first half of the year and then still make it in the playoffs. But we've seen that so many times under Oscar, and we just and like Duncan said, like, oh, bear with us, it might take us some time. Like, that's the last thing we want to hear, especially after the way that the last season ended. Like the last, I think it's something like 11 games without a win or something based off last year. I have to look at the exact stats, but this is not this season. This is the end of last season as well. And I think if this was a European team with Pro-Rel, 100% they would fire him. So I think they would fire him if he'd just been here like a year, even, right? Like they would fire him if he'd been here 2 years. He's been here 7 years. What else do we need to see? Like, I'm sorry, but you've had a long freaking leash. Like that is so long in the world of soccer. So
I mean, him and Ricardo raised the bar. I mean, Luis Musi, Pareja raised the bar, right? So again, I know MLS is about parity. It's about continuity.
But that was 4 years ago that we won a trophy.
Right. So the bar was already set by them that year, but they haven't been able to come close since.
2024 conference final. That's it.
Against Sacramento. We were there. So
last year, the Leagues Cup semifinal. That's it. Really. That's like the peaks we've had since 22.
And that was a clusterfuck. But I mean, again, look, to give you another example, in the Peruvian League, Alianza Lima, last year, historic run in Copa Libertadores. One of the worst teams in history of Copa Libertadores got beat up Grêmio, like top teams in Brazil, a small Peruvian team, top teams in Brazil with a coach. That run came to an end in Sudamericana against University of Chile. Boom, dead. Oh, well, we still remember the good things. That same coach that took him there, lost 4 games after that. He got sacked. 4 games. He lost the Clásico. He lost the Derby. He lost 2 more games after that. He was sacked. And so.
And we as the fans should not accept mediocrity, right? And I think that up until the end of last season, we were supportive of Oscar being like, he's, we believe in the project. We believe we're going in the right direction. Last year was, like I said at the beginning of last season, this is my year for Oscar to get us back to where we were at the end of 2024. We took a massive drop off. So I think as fans, we have to say this is not good enough, right? We have to put our foot down. At some point, we have to say this is not good value for money. And, the Wills need to do something about it. They have to step in at a certain point and say, we need to change and steer the ship in the right direction because it's going the wrong way.
Yeah. And that isn't the sport, unfortunately. It's a cruel sport. And is he in the hot seat, if you ask me? Yes, of course. I mean, the results aren't going his way. Now, is the club going to blatantly say, or is going to, kind of like in the movie Elf, going to keep a list of everybody that said, that was right. Oh, this guy said it was right. Great. No, I mean, the club's not going to ever say their decisions. I mean, no club in the world, with all due respect to the fans, no club in the world base their decisions of fan reactions or of fan sentiment. Sometimes it does. I mean, it's good to listen to the fans. I think it's organic, and I think they need to listen to the fans and what they want to say. But as a business, no business makes decisions based on what the fans say. And I know it sounds a little harsh, but I mean, personally, I agree with the sentiment. But I mean, I've heard so much ridiculousness the past few days. It's tremendous. Let's do some more comments. Sounds about right. It's Hard Rock has us native 135 versus Montreal. It says, do you think Sack plays center back because he might be getting a chance for the senior team? Well, maybe. I mean, I think Sack, Taifi, we'll love to see him playing his natural position, but if he's playing center back, I mean, good for him. Montreal is coming hungry. Dagger, Petrasso, Carmona, player of the week. I trust on Otero. So there you go. So he trusts on Javier Otero. Says, I honestly can't see this team winning one game at this point. I mean, they'll probably win, but I don't know if it's going to be this game. Hopefully it's this game. I mean, it better be this game because it's in front of the fans. I mean, you want to impress your fan base.
This is like our only like very achievable points. I know we have a rough start to the season, but
this is the last
if we don't
straw.
win this, like
this is the last straw for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for me, the last game was the last straw.
And again, the club needs to know. I mean, this is common sense. Again, all these years I've covered the team, all I can tell you is I have mad respect for the front office of Orlando City and the way they've handled business. I've never felt disrespected. I've always gotten really good feedback, and I've also have big respect for Oscar in where he took the team. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna just virtually deny reality. Right? The reality is we're not doing well whatsoever. We suck, guys. Clearly, right? So, you know, an organization, even though they are within the right of tuning out the noise, I think it works better if you listen to the noise and then read the crowd. Because this is, in the end, with all due respect, I feel Orlando's a small market. We're not LA. We're not Miami. We're not Seattle, right, when it comes to soccer. I mean, we have, aside of the Pride, the Orlando Pride that won a major championship, there's really no other team with all the reason, not even the Magic. So what I'm trying to say is Orlando was supposed to be that team that will take Orlando to the promised land, united together, deliver a big, be the soccer hub of the Southeast. I was hearing myself all their episodes. We're gonna be the soccer hub of the Southeast. Well, that totally backfired the past few seasons, right? But that's the way the sport is. You know what I mean? That's not going to make me not want to cover Orlando City. That's not going to make me, for some people, stop going to the tailgate, stop going to see Orlando City. You know what I mean? But it definitely, if you're trying to grab the attention on a World Cup year from new fans, you're going to see more Messi maniacs because the Orlando City is not grabbing the attention. And clearly, these people are not going to go to Pride games. I mean,
I see all the kids and of the players and the staff. They're all wearing Miami Messi jerseys, right? They're not.
Right. So,
and that's what I'm talking about with Griezmann. Is like
you gotta,
get us somebody here that's gonna do that. And I think to what you said, Luis, the casuals are looking at 2026 and they're not coming back. They're not. Like, they were here for the first two games. We had sold out against New York, sold out against Miami. You know, Miami was like the second biggest crowd we've ever had in the stadium or something. Like, I don't know, but it's all those casual fans, Luis. They watched us be so bad that like they're not going to come back for the rest of the season. And this is a World Cup year, so we need to turn it around to get the casual fans of Orlando, the ones that aren't the diehards, the ones that will come when we're good and they think it's fun. We need to turn it around to get that excitement back because we are fast, or we already have become, similar to the Magic, where people are just, they're just like, oh, they're there. Yeah, that's Orlando City, but they're not good. And I don't go because it's just whatever.
Wars 801, we really need a press conference for similar. Otherwise, the fan base just spirals into speculation. Well, I mean, if the club wants to do a specific press conference with just fans, I mean, that's up to the club. I've never heard of that anywhere in the entire world of soccer. I've never seen Barcelona doing that, Liverpool doing that, Flamengo doing that, even Celtic doing that. But if Orlando City wants to be a maverick and do that and give the fans a forum to go ahead and ask questions to the manager and take, if for MLS accredited media is less than 30 minutes, you're going to give the fans, if let's say 1,000 fans log in, you're going to be there for over 2 hours. So I don't know if I'm reading your question correctly, but
even one fan will talk for 3 hours.
Don't get me wrong, it's a cool concept, but it just doesn't work in real sports. I mean, that's why you have media. I mean, that's why you have media. Now, media is going to ask the questions. You may agree with some media. You may not agree with some media. There's people that don't like the questions I ask, that they feel, oh, why is this guy asking questions? I can ask better questions than him. But when they step in my shoes, they're going to be like, oh, I can say that. And that is in any sport. You go cover the Magic, go cover the Solar Bears, go cover the Orlando Predators, the Orlando Storm. I mean, it's going to happen. I just think it'd be a cool concept. Don't get me wrong. I will love that. I mean, I will love for the fans to have. I'm still waiting for the fans versus media game. I will love that. Alonso, I said keep Pedro. He was willing to reduce salary. Yeah, we mentioned that. Alonso says, no, I'm talking about a State of the Union address, no questions, telling the fans a clear layout of concerns and plan going ahead. Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
I think they should, but like they don't like.
I mean, I think it'll be
it's not going to happen.
I think it's going to be I think that's a very forward-thinking idea, and I think that's fantastic. But I don't really see. I mean, the big clubs don't do it. And
I've seen like GMs of other teams come out and have like an interview or be like, hey, everything's going really badly. I'm sorry. We're going to try and figure it out and turn it around. And I don't think we're there yet. We're 3 games in. But Oscar's out here apologizing every week. Like every week he's here being like, I messed up.
Not only that, they picked the wrong players to also speak. With all due respect to Duncan, but I would have loved to hear, for example, Maxime Crépeau and apologize. You know what I mean? I think that would have helped.
David Brecalo would have been a good one for us to hear.
I mean, why you look so grumpy? Why can you not play left back? I could have asked that question. I say, hey, did you like playing left back? Now, I like that idea, and I knowing the front office, they wouldn't be against this. Of what Wars is saying right now. I don't. But the problem here, guys, is the MLS. The MLS, if you do it for one, you got to do it for all. And that will mean that if Orlando's doing it, then Miami's going to have to do it. In Miami, they put a tarp so you don't see their players. So what are the odds of them? Because if you do for one, you got to do for all. That's the problem with the league. If you give the freedom of each club to do things their own way, which I think that's what it is in Europe, in South America, they can do things their own way. I like that idea of wars. I love it. I think a State of the Union once a month, twice a month, whatever. Boom, say it. No questions asked, no media, just the GM talking, taking even questions from the chat. I think that'd be fantastic. I think that's a great idea. But do I see the MLS implementing that realistically with Don Garber at the helm? No. Their message would be trust the process. Hello. It says, I'm a Miami fan and watch y'all since I live in Orlando now. Hope you guys can turn it around and be more competitive. Thank you, Boss Daddy. Appreciate you, man. Ronaldo's coming shortly, says Kenneth. There you go. Anyways, we have the Pride Pod at 8:30, but before we go, real quick, OCB 2, Chicago Fire 2-1. Amazing game by Justin Ellis, Pedro Leão. I mean, talk about the celebration right here with a gun pointing out, ready to lock and load right there. Pedro Leão looking sharp. I mean, I love the way they play this game. I think Yearwood also did tremendous. Sak Taifi playing center back, and he actually did a really good job. Tristan Himes as well. I know that David was going to have a report about this later on, but I mean, definitely the kids. I mean, I'll be honest with you, those jerseys. I don't know if you like them, John, but
they're nice.
They're very nice. So
continuing the trend of making really nice OCB jerseys that no one can ever buy.
Harvey Sarajan looks like a player that has a lot of cojones, a lot of huevos.
Yeah.
A lot of testosterone.
He
was like elbowing players, running.
The assist was really nice from him.
Yeah. So I would like to see him in the first team. I mean, So great game, man. I mean, this starting OCB on the forefront, good for Coach Perlman, and I think
Yeah.
you mentioned if they decide to part ways with Oscar, I mean, the next man to step up is going to be Mr. Perlman, and
It sounded like a good little crowd out there. It's
the Aaron
I think
Lance
some of the Ruckus and ILF. I know they go out to the OCB games, so like it was a bummer of a weekend, man. I mean, Saturday we're watching get killed. Like we get the early game and go to the bar and I'm there at the pub and we're watching us get smacked 5-0. Like that's miserable. So at least the fans, like can have a little bit of joy. The Ruckus and ILF and the people that go out to watch OCB, they got to see a win. So that's some positivity. And I just think there's a lot of good young talent on this team, man. And I think it excites me to see guys like Sakata out there getting a lot of minutes again. There's Caraballo. Like we've got a lot of dudes that could potentially contribute in the first team. But the top two, Harvey, Justin Ellis, bring them in, bring Taifi in. Let's see more minutes for some of these top performers that I think should be or could at least contribute to something in the first team at the minute.
Yeah, Orlando, this OCB team was efficient. They had a higher passing accuracy, 82.5%. They put higher percentage of their shots on target. So they look lock and loaded with Harvey, with Justin Ellis, with even Yearwood. They absorbed pressure really well, relied on a lot of individual moments of brilliance from Pedro Leão. Now, Pedro Leão, was considered a young phenom in Brazil. So I would love to see Leão on a short-term deal with the first team. We were really, really sucking at the 9 positions. Him and Ellis should be getting minutes with the first team if needed be. Chicago, on the other hand, in my opinion, freaking 19 shots, like 0. I mean, 1 goal, but they didn't convert 19 shots. It's crazy, so 19 versus 1. So they just lack the execution. They dominated a lot of the midfield. There were a couple of turnovers from OCB, some lapses here and there, but I mean, Chicago lost because they couldn't turn possession into goals. I mean, just Ellis knew how to cut inside on his right foot and look dangerous, and great game overall by OCB, man. So proud of the kids. Hopefully they keep climbing up and all of that. So where is Caraballo? Caraballo, he was
subbed on.
Yeah, he subbed on. Yeah. Harvey looked the most potent to me. Yeah, I agree. Messi or Ronaldo, Jorge Carlos. I mean, I like both. After I don't know if you heard, if you're probably a Messi fan, there's a Xavi interview he did, if you care about that stuff. I just saw it and it was eye-opening. Messi could have not been an Inter Miami player, and Inter Miami fans need to really hug and embrace Joel Laporta, the president of Barcelona, because he's the reason why he's playing in Miami right now. Messi wanted to, after PSG, he wanted to go back to Barca for literally to play for nothing, like to play for cheap, $5 in a public sub. Literally, he wanted to just go and retire in Barcelona and over Miami. And the president said, no thanks, Leo. And that's why you have him now in pink. Thank you, Barcelona. Appreciate you. But anyways, obviously we're coming to the end of the show, but we're 20 minutes in. But I did a little video. Hopefully I'm not surprising John, but I probably will surprise John. You probably already got the alert, but I wanted to play it for everybody to see. And then after that, we'll discuss a little bit what's going to happen.
John, your first appearance with LPO was on January 16th, 2023. You tested the waters, made an immediate impact, and became family.
See us bring in a little bit more depth. I think we've seen the last few seasons that both Schlegel and, Janssen and Roberto Carlos.
You expressed your love and admiration for Dogger Dan. A year later, Despite being your first time hosting, you overcame being nervous, stayed committed, and we created the Pride Pod, giving the Orlando Pride fans the recognition they deserved.
Going to be a whole pod dedicated from about 45 minutes to an hour, weekly during the season. During the off season, we'll see, maybe weekly, maybe every other week. But right now, we got a lot of news from the first.
We witnessed a major name like Barbara Banda signing with Orlando.
So the bandwagon is out in full force. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about San Diego Wave coming up on Friday night at home. Luis, how are you, buddy? As excited as I am about this Pride vibes right now. We got a win. Like Barbara's here. This is fun, man.
We witnessed a historic Shield win.
With a trophy. I said last week, maybe this time next week we'll be sitting there with a shield, Luis. And here we are. I can't be more excited. I don't know how to start this episode apart from to say we are the winners. We are still undefeated. We are top of the table and took down Washington 2-0 in another incredible game.
We witnessed a championship win and bridged the gap between Orlando City and Orlando Pride fans.
Very special episode to talk all about being what, Luis? What are we? Say it to me, buddy. I want to hear it.
Well, we're champions, John.
Campeones, my friend. Campeon.
We said we should always bring exposure to other Orlando content creators, and we did by bringing our good friend David Gray in December 2025.
Do so. I'm excited for Christmas and all these new players.
That's right. David, how are you, my friend? Good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Having a great night. Hoping we...
Thank you for all the good times. Thank you for your friendship. Loud and proud Orlando is your home always. This ain't a goodbye, is a see you later. Work isn't over. LPO will continue and the door is always open. We wish you the best to you and Steph.
There you go, man. Hopefully you didn't tear up a little bit. I actually teared up a little bit making it, to be honest with you.
Oh, man.
No, man. I appreciate your friendship. I think your contributions here have been tremendous, and I wish you nothing but the best to you and Steph. The work is there. I have some notes I took. We started when you joined, and sorry if I get a little caught up. We started with 499 subs. When we started the Pride Pod, which is something I honestly couldn't take forward by myself, and it's something I really wanted to do, and we kind of saw eye to eye. 685, and now we are at, and look at that, I didn't even have that pulled up, 1,838 subs, close to 2K. To say that your contributions have been tremendous, but most of all, it's the friendship that we've developed through this time that you've been here. Sorry guys, it's a little, but I speak from the heart. Thank you, and I really wish you the best and hope everything goes well with you and your family. You have a friend here for life, a brother in the trenches, and always Vamos Orlando and Vamos Pride, and I will definitely learn a lot from you. I learn a lot from you. I learn a lot on a personal level. I always know when you have people close, just like how I learned from Alonzo, how I learned from, a lot of people that I've met through the years. I think you've been a person that I've learned a lot from myself as well, and I thank you for that. And again, you're going to be surely missed, but we're going to push forward now that you're going to be gone. We're going to push forward even harder with the support of everybody here of the community. So your turn. Sorry about that, man.
Man, you got me, Luis. You got me a tear there, bro. I can't. Yeah. I mean, when we started, it was so different to what it is now, and I think a lot of that is just, us being committed and being here, and also, wanting to make good content for the fans. But we could be here every week just talking into a vacuum, right? Like without all of the guys in the comments, without you guys like interacting on social media, without like Luis does so much on like Instagram. Like I look at our Instagram, I'm like, what the hell? There's like 100 likes on this post or whatever. Like that's on all the social medias and stuff like that. Like there was a time when we post and they'll be like, oh, you get like 2 likes, right? So all of the growth and everything we've done, I'm so proud of it. I think at a certain point, I just wanted to dip my toes in the water, and then, me and you just sort of ran with it, right? Took the ball and ran with it. And Paula was awesome with us for all those years, and I'll never forget everything she did. And then more recently, David has been such a great addition, and he's, I'm so glad that I'm leaving you guys together, because I feel like the two of you can, continue what we've gone on here to build. But it's really about the community, honestly. Like that's Orlando City for me more than anything. It's about the community, man. Like it always has been. And so we created our own little LPO community here, and that means the world to me. It really does. So now you got me going, bro. Look at this. On the live, you got us 2 grown men, 35-year-old man crying, Luis.
No, like no, but it's true. I mean, without the fans, when I started covering the teams, without them, there really wasn't anything. I've been part of the Orlando community for a long time, probably more like on the music side. But Orlando's my hometown. I'm from Peru, but I consider Orlando my hometown because I never moved out of Central Florida until when I got married. So I know like every single corner and shortcut there is, and I've walked the walk, and that's why when a soccer team came into Orlando, it was like a huge. But in this journey, I think definitely your contributions have been tremendous. Paula's as well. Everybody that has been part of LPO at some point has contributed something. And
Oz, Lucas, everybody who's been so great.
Oz, a lot of David now and all of that. So and again, we want the whole community to see that they could be also part of this as well, right? So I mean, there's really no hate amongst any of the content creators or anything like that. If anything, we do this because we're passionate, passionate of what the club for a club, and at least for us, for 2 clubs, right?
I want to encourage anybody out there who's thinking like, oh, I can't do this, or like I can't be be somebody who can, be a social media account or a podcast or a writer, or whatever you want to do. If you have a passion for Orlando City, if you have a passion for Orlando Pride, put yourself out there. Like the worst that can happen is someone's going to tell you to go away, but it's going to happen, right? You got to develop that thick skin. You got to learn. So I want to encourage the next people, because that's what I did. And then here I am, like all this years later. So sometimes you just got to go out there and start, try stuff, go for it. So I hope, I'm always going to be a big supporter of LPO, but like Luis said, we're support anybody in this community that comes out and, has good content and creates a positive message and is there to honestly cover the team. And I've made so many good friends through that and done so many awesome stuff because of LPO. So yeah, I'm really sad to go. This is a decision I don't take lightly at all. There's something that I'm really struggle with, to leave this community behind. But it's something that is right for me and my family. So Saturday will be my last game. I will be there at Montreal. Versus Montreal at home. And then I'll also be there on the Pride game on Sunday. So if you're in the stadium, come, you see me and even if I don't know who you are or whatever, or don't just say hi, like say bye to me, because I love whenever I'm out and I, get to interact with you guys and talk with you guys, because like we said, it's just all about the community. And even though I'm going to be on the other side of the world, I'm still going to be, here in the comments and chatting and be a part of this Orlando City community. Just like you got Taylor's Orlando City UK, there's a lot of guys that follow from the UK. So I'm still going to be around. I'm going to come back and do some stuff with Luis and David. I'll be on something. We'll figure it out. But so this is not farewell forever, but just I won't be a regular here on LPO anymore. So.
Yeah, well, I was read some comments real quick. It says, I'll be at the game 2, section 110. Best wishes, John. Get over the pond safely. This is Devin Harvey. Kenneth Allen, as a new kid, says on the back, 90 minutes with our city family we'll never forget, says Kenneth Allen. Where do you seat John, says Adriana.
I'm in the wall. I'll be in the wall.
To be honest, who's cutting onions? Thanks for all your hard work, John. You'll be missed, and good luck with everything. Where is this guy? Is this guy going? He's going to England, man. Man, he's the first episode Boss Daddy season.
Sorry, like, Boss Daddy. I'm heading out.
I'm like tearing up. Like it's okay. If this isn't goodbyes, I'll see you later. God bless you, John. Thank you for all your beautiful work. You'll be much missed. No, thank you for your support as well. Yeah, man, it's a little sad, but we still got the Pride Pod coming up in 5 minutes. If anybody wants to watch, feel free. The video is gonna come out once we close.
Hey man, Barbara Banda's back. You want to see some goals this weekend? That's our best shot. Some goals, I think.
Sunday, yeah. Anything you wanna end, John?
I just want to say again to all of you guys, like, you've been amazing for all these years, and keep supporting LPO, keep supporting Orlando City. I know it's terrible right now, but you just got to have some hope and faith that it's going to get better. And I promise me leaving has nothing to do with how bad we are or anything else. It's just a personal thing for me. That's the right time in my life, and I will miss Orlando and the games and all of you guys so much.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for your support. If you missed the video, you can definitely rewind it, or you can go to our socials. Is there too. It's gonna be on John Rawlins TV on their Instagram page as well. So we'll see you guys. The Pride Pod's next. Thank you. Vamos Orlando. Have a good one, guys.